Let's be honest, the real problem in the music producer community is that there are just way too many music producers. I don't know how anyone could count or calculate the number of music producers globally, but Quora says there are roughly 10 to 50 million. 10 to 50 million is a hell of a range. That's still a lot of producers all competing for the same thing. In all honesty, you knew I wasn't going to say some negative stuff like that in the video. In all honesty, I think there's space for all of us. Because here's another statistic. The International Foundation of Phonographs, what does this stand for? Hold on. The International Foundation for the Phonograph Industry, I know they came up with that name a long ass time ago. They found that, this is back in 2023, the average person listened to 20.7 hours of music per week globally, and that amounts to about 52 songs per day. 52 songs per day for every single person on the planet. That's a lot of music that needs to keep being made. So I think producers still can win today. And as a matter of fact, all of you should join the Discord anyway. It's like $3 a month if you sign up annually. We collab on beats every single week. We also sell beats. And when I go live to review beats, if there are any open slots, members of the Discord get in for free. I review their beats live. Shout out to the newest members: Beats by Legendary, Hardcastle, Almighty Sinoxo, Keep It Simple, Tom Capo, Sean B, Jazz Tracks, and Gray Guys. Patreon.com/DJPin1, the link is also below. But here's the other thing about there being so many producers on the planet. We obviously can't do the same thing, all of us. That'd be ridiculous if there are 10 to 50 million of us. But there are a lot of different genres, subgenres, and there are a lot of different positions that we can fill. And it's up to us to figure out what we enjoy doing and what we're good at and what we can succeed at. What I mean is, some producers do sync, some producers do sound design, some producers sell samples, some producers just sell beats online, some producers make pop, some producers make rap, some producers make boom bap, some producers compose for video games, some producers compose for film. Some producers just release their instrumental music as standalone projects. Some producers chase industry placements. Some producers work with independent artists. Some producers are members of small groups. Some producers are members of groups that are DIY, indie, or major. So it's just a wide range of different roles that we can fill in the music business, and they're all great roles. They're all great positions that we can succeed in. So then if there are so many damn producers out there, and we're at this point, I think a lot of us are all trying to do the same thing, right? We want the placements with the hottest artists. Where does that leave the artists? Number one. And number two, do artists need to lock in with a certain small number of producers, or even a single producer, or should they be working with every producer possible? And this is a actually much bigger conversation than I originally thought it would be. So let's jump right in. What do you think? Should artists work with every producer, lots of producers? Because there are a lot of talented producers out there. Should they work only with the most established producers, or should they work with the producers, the small circle of producers that they've always worked with? I don't think there's an easy answer. I don't know if there's necessarily a right or wrong answer, but let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get into the convo.
Yeah. And then some songs are just me. So it's like a mix of the three. Muramasa made my biggest song. So he produced Boy's Liar. He produced Just For Me. Oscar Scheller did Stateside. And Stateside, the Stateside remix, sorry, he made the remix. The Dare and Me made the original. So it's a really long, like, I could go on for ages about it. But yeah, so it's really, the thing about me is like, I have a set few producers that I work with. I only work with about 3 in rotation. I don't really stray outside of my 3. Some people only work with 1 producer. Like some artists I know only work with 1. And then some artists work with everyone. Like just different songs have different producers.
Yeah.
And I think all methods work. I think when I work with a producer that I think is really talented, like I'm working with them because they are inherently talented people, but I also feel like I vet them. So like I will, like they come to learn who I am. So they come to know what I like, what I don't like. And therefore the process becomes easier between us. Like,
yeah, I think it just makes a lot of sense. If you work with somebody time and time again, there's probably going to be less back and forth going forward. I think they'll have better ideas. Especially if the music's doing well. I know that, if I'm assuming if you're a producer and you're working with an artist, and the music is doing really, really well, you're probably like looking to see like the comments, the analytics, but even as a producer, right? And you might start to get ideas for, what you can do next time or how you can change it, or maybe you see some feedback from fans that you want to incorporate into the production. Like you're much more invested now, like now that the music is doing, because you probably want to do more. You're like, oh, this is working. This combination of artists is working. Like we should continue to do more work. Let me give you my ideas, and there's more excitement, more ideas. I be paying you. I'm just assuming, but you can validate or invalidate what I just said.
I like what she said because, we're used to playing clips from people who say, my way is the way to do it. And she said, always work. But she also, I don't know, it seemed like she was a little skeptical of the working with every producer method. And, she's in a position that a lot of artists would love to be in, and many artists get to, where they have hit songs, they have a lot of fans, they have major deals. And so they can work with all types of producers. They can work with any of the top 10 producers right now. I mean, she could be working with Jack Antonoff and Metro Boomin and Max Martin, whoever she wants. But she's sticking with the 3 producers that she has worked with in the past. So I think the other thing is she's a different type of artist because she started out as a producer and as her own engineer. And we talked about this last episode where I think I was venting about artists who don't know anything about music, who then get upset when they're working with their producers and engineers because they're like, why is the producer and why is the engineer taking from the song? Why aren't they seeing my vision? And it's like, because you can't communicate your vision. But if you're somebody like her, and many artists track themselves, a lot of artists also produce. And a lot of, it's not just older generation. Like everyone, I think, knows Young Thug tracks himself. I think people know new artists like Slayer are producers as well. Those people are going to be better communicators with their collaborators because they know what they do. They know the terms, they know the process, and they can communicate using the terminology and using their experience. So, there is, though, this, I don't know, is this a newer thing, Dame? What do you think? Is the whole working with a bunch of producers more new school? Whereas, people will always say, well, back in the day, you only worked with one producer, and then they'll cite folks like, Gangstar, Missy Elliott, the Clips, etc. They worked with one producer or one team, like Public Enemy worked with the Bomb Squad, and that's what made music great. And now everyone's just kind of running around working with all types of producers, and so it doesn't feel as cohesive.
I think that back then it was probably harder to find producers. So once you found one, you really locked in. But now, since people are sending beats back and forth online, it's all over the place. Like you have the option to try different producers.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it, is the availability of producers. There are way more now. But do you think it creates a more cohesive product, or does it depend on the people? Probably depends on the people.
It depends on I think it depends on the people. But this goes back to last week when we were talking building a team. I'm sure, trying to sort things out with a producer is just like trying to sort things out between an artist and management, artist and label. Like, okay, so you lock in with a producer now. What are the expectations? What are the splits? How are you going to contribute creatively? How's the artist going to let the producer contribute creatively? So I think if you can sort those things out, you're probably going to get the best product and better music, just over time, and hopefully easier. But the producer might come in and say, hey, I'm doing the song this is half the song. I need half of everything. And then the artist says, well, the classic, well, you're not promoting it. You're not blah, blah, blah. It's just hard to resolve, especially once the duo starts getting some success. So
Yeah. Well, then the other thing too, I mean, there are counterexamples, but maybe not exactly. Like, I remember G Unit, they were working with all different types of producers and not even necessarily the top producers. They would work with many of the top producers, like the 50 Cent debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying, was virtually all top producers, like Dre and Digga and folks like that. But the new Drake albums, there are a lot of new producers on that, and there are multiple producers on each track. But then when I think about the team for G Unit and the team for Drake, they have executive producers. You know, Drake's got 40, Drake's got Boy Wonder. You know, there are people that can make it all cohesive for the projects. And then back with G Unit, they had Shaw Money XL. They had a lot of people who understood production really well. And so the sounds, the albums, the bodies of work that they released always sounded cohesive, even if every single track was produced by an entirely different person. You know what I mean? So that could be a factor too.
Yeah, I think that's super important, you know, especially if you're putting together like bodies of work, whether you're doing EPs or eventually albums. There has to be some cohesiveness to it, in terms of telling your story in a packaged product. You know, and that's hard to do if you have a million different producers. And like you said, nobody kind of, you know, trying to bring it all together as an executive producer, or if nobody has oversight over that. So.
Yeah, especially now because so many people are just getting stuff from here and there, you know, different beats from here and there. And, you know, you go online and you create an album. You could even do an EP. You could do 7 songs, every single song to a beat by a different producer. That producer could be in a different country. They could be in a different genre. They could be using a different DAW. There's a lot that could contribute to a difference in sound, and that could either be an asset or it can make everything sound disjointed. I don't know. But technology has made it possible, certainly.